welcome to Day in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone, and I know you will not be seeing this on Valentine's Day, but we are taping on Valentine's Day. So I want to wish everyone a happy holiday and appreciation for all our viewers who are out there. I can get behind any holiday that lets me eat chocolate for breakfast, which was what I did this morning with a little leftover treat from a dinner I had with my husband last night. So happy Valentine's Day and welcome, Scott. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. Welcome. Oh, it's good to be here. I don't know if it's coincidence, but you're wearing red today. I'm impressed. That was well done. Yep. Good. So I don't know. I went to the website today to check the schedule like I normally do, and I realized there's a few little changes, some new search options and such. Anything in particular sort of prompt that, or just a good routine update to the website? It is a good routine update, and I think what would be great is maybe in one of your upcoming shows, we could have the IT department come in and talk about that and some of the changes to help people. It's pretty self-explanatory, but it was really more optics and just time for a refresh. It was great. Because I'm a marketer by trade, anytime I go to a website, I see something new, I got all excited. So it was nice to see that and easy to navigate. So appreciate that. I want to talk about a couple of little follow-up things from past conversations we've had. We've talked about the water filling station. I think last time we spoke, we were waiting for final sign-off. Did that happen at this point yet? It should be this week. We had our testing done, and we've expanded. Like I told you, I think we've expanded our testing to all the water sites in the city, and one of them was up at the senior center where the water filling station will be in the PFAS up there was like either a non-detect or like a 1 or 2. So that should be good to go to get the approval from the DP this week. I would be hopeful that we could, with those results, we could be up and running this weekend. And also, our results we sent the letter out this week, which we, it was staggered, but, haven't got as many calls as we did the last time. And I think maybe people are a little bit more aware of the issue. The mailer was definitely much better formatted and presented. I think people, this one, they had a better idea where it was coming from, and I think it was a much better layout and presentation. So, with that being said, we didn't get a ton of calls, which is a good thing because people understand. But just to follow up on that, Samantha, the test for January did come back, and the PFAS was 15, which is well under the 20, which is good. We're still on track though. It's a continuous testing, and we're on track to go in front of the city council when the plans are completed and ask for the money to complete the project. That's great, and appreciate that update. When the water filling station goes live, is it going to have set hours, or will it be kind of a self-service model? It's self-service. Okay, great. Yeah. Awesome. Well, hopefully we'll have good news officially to share that it's open and operational. I know we have these sort of procedural things to go through, and those January numbers are encouraging as well. So they are. Yep. Glad to hear that. We had another snowy weekend that came down. DPW was out there working hard. Yeah, I mean they on the Super Bowl, that's kind of tough, but they were out there and they got it done. It was a little, it was very light, but and not a lot of accumulation, but it came in 3 different waves, and it presents a little bit of a problem. And particularly, like I said, the guys had to be pretty much on duty the whole time, which is not too fun on a Super Bowl Sunday, but they were there and doing the best they could. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I was speaking earlier to our guest, Scott, before you hopped on, that I decided with my husband, we were going to do an early Valentine's last night for dinner and go to a nice restaurant, so avoid a little bit of the crowds. I failed to realize when I made the dinner reservations and plans with friends, it was Super Bowl Sunday. So I know he loves me because not only did he go, but he didn't complain too much about it. That's good. Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't mean, I like watching the football game. I love watching football, but it really doesn't mean as much when the Patriots aren't in it, and particularly when, it was a great one last year with Tom Brady in Tampa. So, we've been spoiled with Super Bowls and playoffs, but this was just a little bit different this year. But absolutely. And if the Patriots, I definitely would not have been going to dinner anywhere. You wouldn't have been. Yeah. So I got away. I got lucky this year, I guess, in the scheduling worked out. Not lucky in terms of football, but that's great. I know that we had an unfortunate loss. Former police chief, if I'm correct, passed away recently. And
Chief Mahoney.
Yeah, and I didn't know if there was anything we as a city were doing to sort of honor his service, or just wanted to give you a chance to recognize the work that he had done.
No, he was a great police officer and served the city well during his time. He was a patrolman. I think he went right from lieutenant to chief, and he served for, when I became mayor, he was finishing up his duties as chief. So I didn't get to know him as well as I knew, Chief Ferrulo and now Chief Rufo, but he was very well liked, and during his time in charge, he had some really high profile cases that took a lot out of him, and he did a great job leading the city through those times. So it was a nice send off for him. His department showed up at his whole department showed up at his wake and his funeral. So it was a nice tribute to a great guy and a good chief.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. I want to talk a little bit about, so over the weekend, somebody had an unfortunate incident. They needed to call an ambulance, and our police and fire and such arrived really, really quickly. It's actually quite incredible. I hear that often, how fast we have a response, which is great. Unfortunately, I had to wait for an ambulance for transportation. That happens sometimes. But it sort of stirred a bunch of people mentioning that they'd had similar experiences. I know we don't always have 2 ambulances on service, and I just wanted to kind of get your thoughts about how frequently this happens, and kind of what the decision, the weight between budgeting your own and paying other folks to do that.
The first thing I'd like to say is the airing it out on the residents page or Facebook or Twitter. That's not the appropriate place. If somebody has an issue like that, they should be calling my office or coming down to my office. And honestly, Samantha, I haven't had one person come to my office about the fire service, the police service since I've been mayor. So just to make that clear, I don't, people, and I haven't heard from anybody since. So if people really, are concerned, they should be coming to my office, sitting down with me and talking to me about their concerns. But, with that said, the process we've had in place has been in place for over 5 years, where we run one frontline ambulance during the week, Monday to Friday. We man a second one from 10 to 6. At the same time, we outsource for a second full-time ambulance with Armstrong. That's for our ALS service, Advanced Life Service, and they also provide a BLS. So we have the coverage, and also what's really important to know is every fireman is EMT certified. So they're good at what they do. And sometimes what you'll have people, and it's not uncommon for people to say, hey, I called for the ambulance, and the first piece that arrived was the fire engine. And it's really not uncommon for 2 or 3 pieces to show up at someone's house for medical call. So they're on it, they respond, and our residents are getting the service that they need and want. And with that being said, one of the things that we've been doing is we've committed to a new fire station, and that fire station is going to be finished in November, and that's again through the collaboration of my office, great support from the city council and the fire department. But what I'm most proud of is people have been talking about a new fire station for 40 years, and no other mayor's got it done. But working with the city council and the fire department, we are able to get it done. It'll be online in November, and I've committed to the chief months ago that we will be going to a full staff second ambulance. He's got 5 guys already lined up for the who are already at the academy, or we'll be going to the academy in May, and then another 5 in November. So
that's fantastic news. Look at that. That's awesome.
It had nothing to do with
nothing to do with
an incident. But again, if any of your listeners are listening with any issue, if they want to spin their wheels on Facebook, be my guest. But if they want answers, they should come to my office, call my office, or come down to my office. That's they can tell me how they feel. They don't have to agree with what I say, but at least if they come here, they can get my side. And not the spinster side.
Well, I appreciate you sharing the update with all of us. I think it's really helpful. That's what this is about, is getting information out to folks. So thank you for doing that. I think there's lots of people who will be happy to hear and learn more. And these things have a way of getting out of compounding each other. And there's a plan, and there's all these answers. So thanks for sharing.
That's right. Good.
Awesome. Anything else that you'd like to add before we bring Chuck on to chat with him?
No, I think that's it. We talk about the hot issues. It's plowing, and it seems like it's going to warm up again for the weekend, and then the way it looks like we don't have any snow that's coming until the end of the month. So hopefully that'll be good. We're getting closer to springtime. So
I am eager to talk about how hot I am and how the summer heat is getting to me, Scott. I'm ready.
So. Yeah, well, thank you, and happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
Yeah, thanks so much, Scott. Appreciate your time today.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Well, Chuck, welcome. I'm pleased to be chatting with you. I think last time we spoke, you were running for office, and now we get to chat with you in your role as city councilor.
Thank you.
Great to have you. I see you're wearing your orange, so
Yep.
appropriate Woburn colors, which is great. I love that. So you've been a city councilor now just for a few weeks, not a tremendous amount of time, but would love to just kind of touch base with you and say, ask in general, how are things going? Is it what you expected?
Things are going well. Yep. It's going well. It's what I expected from the constituents and the residents of Woburn. Had numerous of them reach out to me over the weekend about the plowing and the salting and sanding in the roads, but explained to them that the DPW was out there, they were doing their job. It's just that they may not have been in their area just yet.
Yeah, I know that was one of the things that you, prior to the election, was important to you. There were some parts of the city in your ward that you were concerned weren't always getting the attention as quickly as we'd like. So good to know. I'm not surprised to hear you got a lot of inquiries about it when the snow started to fall.
Yep.
That's awesome. Lots of, one of the things that you also talked about during the election time is measured growth and making sure that any new construction or changes to zoning and things is aligned with our vision of ourselves as a city.
Right.
Any particular projects that you are looking at closely, excited about, that you want to chat about here?
First and foremost, where I was the chairman of the water committee previously for the Citizens Water Committee, very intrigued with the new filtration plant that's going to be built and going into place in, I believe it's 2024, to remove the PFAS out of the water system, which I'm very interested in. And then this past Monday, we had a committee meeting, which Carol Rigo from Camp Tressa McKee, Mayor Scott Galvin, and the water department came down, and they briefed us on what the situation was with the water at the moment and the timeline of when things are going to be done and accomplished.
Yeah, that's an exciting a project for sure. I'm thrilled. Last question for you, Chuck, before I let you get back to your busy evening and such. What has been the most rewarding part? So we know that being a city councilor is hard work, and you're on call a lot, and you get lots of inquiries and lots of different things across the city that you're a representative for. What have you enjoyed most about the position?
The thing that I enjoyed most so far was actually this past Thursday, our veterans agent, Larry Giuseppe, just retired. And I was able to have a resolve signed by the whole city council for him, thanking him for his 12 years of service and thanking him for his service to the country and to the Commonwealth as well.
That sounds like a wonderful way to pay tribute.
Absolutely. It was. And so whoever takes the job next has a lot of big shoes to fill. I could say that.
He's an institution here in the city and has done a lot of incredibly good work. Since you mentioned it, what will be the process for, do you have any insight into how a new person will be selected for that role?
I believe that the job actually has to go out to bid or to have numerous people interview for it. And I believe they come in front of the city council. So
that's great. Well, we'll look forward to seeing who has to do it. I do agree they have big shoes to fill. So That's great. Well, Chuck, thank you so much for popping in and chatting with us. You know, you're always welcome if new things come up in the ward or questions, things you just want to get out into the community and share about. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you very much for your time, and have a great rest of your Valentine's Day.
Thank you so much. Karen, we're thrilled to have you back. For those of you who are regular viewers, you may remember Karen came on. We talked about her Boston Marathon run where she's raising money for the Red Cross. But she has upped the ante and is doing even more to support a real need in the Red Cross. Tell us a little bit about the blood drive that you're helping and where that's going to be and all the good information we need.
I will. Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Samantha, for having me on again. Happy Valentine's Day to you and to all your viewers, even though it might not be Valentine's Day when they see this. But yes, so I am hosting a blood drive. It's going to be at the Woburn Senior Center on March 16th. The time is going to be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And the reason why I wanted to do this was because, as many of you know, you may know, you may not know, the Red Cross is facing a severe blood shortage right now. They're actually in a crisis. So as part of my marathon efforts, I thought that this would be a good way to give back and to try and help the Red Cross, you know, deal with their blood shortage. So yeah, come on down March 16th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
I love it. And Jen will put up the registration information and where to register for the blood drive. The Red Cross, as just a reminder, does require registration. They don't have walk-ins, and that's some of the protections they have in place, health protections and things. But they also often have folks who signed up who sometimes aren't able to make it. So if you want to be on a wait list, if for some reason the registration is closed, it's not yet, but if it does, don't hesitate to reach out to Karen and let her know, because if we get some last minute folks who aren't able to make it for any reason, it's great to have a list of people to call to pop on in. Karen, you're also, not everyone can donate blood for a variety of reasons, but you're also will be accepting donations to support the Red Cross at the blood drive and before.
Yes.
And you're running for that, which I give you so much credit for, especially on these snowy days. But tell us a little bit about where the financial support for the Red Cross goes. So I think many of us are familiar with blood donations, but it takes a lot of money to run their programs.
Right. So I'm currently, as part of the Boston Marathon, I'm aiming to raise $10,000 for the American Red Cross. You know, they do so much, not only just for blood drives, but they help our veterans. They help with a lot of fire prevention. They install smoke detectors. But just to give you an example, to run one blood drive, so the blood drive that we're doing in Woburn on March 16th, to run one of those, it cost the Red Cross $3,900. So it's very expensive. So $10,000, it's definitely a lot of money to raise, but you can see that it doesn't go very far when one blood drive costs $3,900. And to register, by the way, you can go onto their website. So you can go right to the Red Cross's website and you can find where it says blood donations. You can also go to redcrossblood.org. And in the top right, it will say enter a drive. If you put in my name, it'll be Team Dionne. So TEAMDIONNE. That's all one word. That will take you right to the March 16th date, and you can click on the time. And if you're not comfortable with computers, you can also call 1-800-RED-CROSS, and that will also get you to where you need to go to register for the blood drive.
I love it. And we can tell that Karen's a first grade teacher because she did an incredible job explaining and giving us very detailed instructions. So thank you for not skipping any steps. I think that's really valuable. And, you know, for those of you wondering why it costs so much to run a blood drive, if you haven't been to one in a long time, there's an incredible amount of equipment that needs to happen and transportation of, you know, in a very safe and medically sound way that needs to happen. There are nurses on hand to take the donations and are there to support. So there's just a lot that goes into doing it. I'm really impressed. Many of you know, I hosted a blood drive in August. The Red Cross does an incredible job, and the community did an incredible job. So we've unfortunately set the bar that they're expecting every spot to be filled now, and I can count on you, and I know Karen can count on you to come out and do that. So thank you for organizing that, Karen. We're really appreciative.
I'll be there. I'm going to be helping out all day long. I will have a table there. So if you are not comfortable giving blood, but like, you mentioned, you want to come in and just donate to my marathon, I'll have a table there, and all that money will go right to the Red Cross. I'll be there passing out snacks and waters and juices for after people donate. So come on down on March 16th. It'll be lots of fun.
I love it. And the snacks are pretty good. So I was pretty impressed with the selection.
Honestly, I've never donated blood, so I'm kind of excited to see what it's all about. And I'm ready and gonna wrap my head around it, and maybe I can donate as well. So yeah, it'll be good.
I love it. Well, I'm definitely gonna make my appointment and look forward to seeing folks there as well. Next up, we have David. Welcome, David.
Good to be back here. I was trying to make sure I didn't interrupt any of your other guests. I forgot I was muted.
No, it's wonderful. Really glad to have you there. And whenever it snows, I think of you and the great work that SCI does, because we have DPW crews and contractors who are out there clearing roads and sidewalks and things. But there's a lot of folks who are home who also have driveways and walkways and can't always do that themselves. Tell us a little bit about the work that SCI does there to help.
Yeah, sure. Well, this program had its genesis in that year when we had really the record-setting snows, and we heard from our friends at the senior center that some seniors hadn't left their homes for weeks because of it, because they had really no resources or way of getting shoveled out. And so we, ever since then, have organized volunteers to go out after snowfalls and help out seniors who don't have another way to get cleared out. And so it's been a fairly busy winter, after a slow start, as you know, DPW's been busy, and so has our team of volunteer shovelers. So the big storm about a week ago, we had about 15 seniors or I think it was actually 17 seniors get shoveled out by our volunteers. And so it's great, people, because they basically have to do double duty, because you have to shovel yourself out first and then go to help someone else out. We do try to match volunteers as much as possible with somebody fairly close by, so it's not driving clear across town, although I think a couple of our volunteers do wind up doing that. And we are still, if there is more snow, the way it works is we have, some people are matched and commit to doing it all winter whenever there's snow. But we do, some people can't, that's a tough commitment to make for some. So we do have others that are sort of on a call list, for if there's a gap, obviously with COVID. In fact, that was a big issue last time, all of a sudden 3-4 people that we thought were going to be ready to help, couldn't for health reasons. So it's great to have a pool of people we can call upon. So I'm sort of hoping we won't need them again, but I'm guessing, I've lived here long enough to guess we'll probably have at least 1 or 2 more times out with the shovels before we can call it spring. So would welcome more volunteers still.
Well, that's fantastic. And for those folks who might need help, they should reach out as well to get placed on a list, or is there some place in particular you want to direct them?
Yeah, so they can definitely go to, we have a form on sciwoburn.org, and they can call us also at 781-935-2244. I would really suggest at this point, we really have more, we are scrambling to match seniors that are already on our list. So we need more volunteers before we can take more seniors. So if someone's hearing this as a senior and says, gee, I'd like to get in this program, I would suggest trying to call us, late fall next year to get on the list, as on the early side for the next snow season. Obviously, if somebody's in a real tough spot, they can certainly reach out. We'll do what we can, but I do know that the list of volunteers is not as great as the list of people needing the help at this point.
Well, it certainly has been snowy, and I'm with you. I think if I were to place bets, I think we're going to have those shovels out a couple more times at least. Yeah. So, but it's been nice having a little bit of warmth in between, because it takes down, you have some place to put the snow. So at least there's
Mhm.
There's that, which we appreciate. You have a lot of other things that are going on. So I'm, started with that program because it's winter and it snowed recently. But there's a number of other things. One of the other things that you've been working on are career panels for teens. And I'm really interested to learn a little bit more about those and some of the ways that we're help supporting young people who have passions and want to be activists in certain types of topics and learn more. So tell us a little bit about what's happening there.
Yeah, sure. So the career panels you mentioned are part of a program that we call Leaders for an Equitable Tomorrow, or LET for short. And it's actually something we do in partnership with the program in Winchester. So it's actually Woburn and Winchester students working together on a variety of social justice issues, but with a real focus also on mental health and how people maybe being of different race or different identities of different sorts, how that can impact mental health is the overall theme of the program. So the career panels are sort of looking at people who are essentially young activists to actually learn how, maybe they're volunteering in high school, how might that actually lead to potentially some potential career interests. So obviously, probably a lot of people thinking about that will go to college first, but it helps inform the thinking, what kinds of courses or programs might they want to take if they want to build on, volunteer work and activism they've done in high school. So the very first one was just yesterday or Sunday, as depending on when you're listening to this. And it was great. We actually had a Woburn High alum who actually I know has been on your show because we were on the same day, Sam Gary, who founded the program Kick It for a Cause that does suicide prevention. So Sam talked about his work. There's actually a guy on, it was very interesting to learn about next door in Reading, who's doing a lot of work to raise issues, do anti-racism work in Reading. He's trying to change the name of a school that I guess is the name of the school. I forget what the name was, but it's associated with a slaveholder. So a variety of, it just shows the variety of things people can do from, a nonprofit kind of career path. So it was interesting. And then coming up next, we're going to pick up on that in March, similar themes. And then we will conclude with actually people learning about careers in government. And obviously, we just, some of your other guests, know that, going into government service is a great way to address public issues. And so we'll be hearing, I know one confirmed speaker on that final one is State Rep Michelle Chicolo will be coming on, along with actually Hermaine Gordon, talking about libraries and the role they play in the community and what that looks like as a career. So, yeah.
Oh, well, one of the things I love about SCI is you do a wide spectrum of activities to support the community and support people of we talked about young people, we talked about older seniors who might need some help with shoveling. And I know there's still snow on the ground and winter's still coming. But it feels, we are already, you've already started to plan for our second annual Juneteenth celebration. Can you give us a little sneak peek into some of the things that might be happening then?
Yes. Yeah, we're very excited to be able to pull together Woburn's first Juneteenth last year. And we didn't know when we started planning it that it was going to be right around the time that President Biden announced that it was becoming a national holiday, a new national holiday. So it was exciting for Woburn to be right there on the ground floor of this new, of course, there's a long tradition of observing it. For those who aren't familiar, it marks the June 19th, commemorates the day the last enslaved people learned that they were free in Texas. And so it's historically been celebrated for a long time, primarily in African-American communities. There's a lot of tradition, but a lot of folks haven't been familiar with that. So Woburn was able to have a great event, on the lawn of the library last year with some programming also inside. And the same basic formula is what we're looking at, definitely also hosted by the library. And one of the things about, we planned on a short time frame. So it was great what we were able to do. We had, Mayor Galvin was there. We even had Congresswoman Clark was there. So we had a great turnout, great program. But I think with more time, we really want to expand it. Part of the idea of Juneteenth that really is intended to be a celebration, but because it was so new last year, we focused a lot on education, but we do want to have some of the celebratory parts, so there's, hopefully some more with food and entertainment, I think is part of what we're
David,
thinking.
anytime you mention food, I'm there. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
open
so
to
we
that.
are looking to, we're not sure exactly what shape that will take, but hopefully it'll be a chance for people to taste some good food and maybe learn something about the contributions of if I've learned, I think I'm into cooking too, so I've been learning actually this Black History Month. I've been doing a little reading and actually some hands-on research and learning about the contributions that Black Americans have made to our food culture. It's pretty, there's a lot there that probably a lot of us wouldn't know about. So hopefully it'll be a good way to learn, but also literally taste of that culture and its traditions.
I love that. I know in past you've had some virtual cooking classes when we couldn't be together, and those are really fun. I learned a lot. So I'm really looking forward to Juneteenth. We'll have you back on as we get closer to talk about the details. Thanks for sharing that. And then just because if that wasn't diverse enough, one of the other things that SDI is doing is I know you have some vaccine education programs you're running in some of our neighboring cities, and just wanted to get a sense of what, if anything, folks from Woburn can do to help support those efforts.
Sure, definitely. There are a couple things. So we do have a CDC funded grant, and then we to fund that actually funds trying to get more adults vaccinated and to really close the gaps. Because the unfortunate thing is when you look at, probably people remember in the news stories of communities like Chelsea that were hardest hit by the virus, where people didn't have the luxury of working from home, living in crowded conditions, and really the virus spread very quickly. So unfortunately, some of those same communities have had the lowest vaccination rate. So Chelsea actually has come up a lot, but a lot of nearby towns. So we're actually doing a lot of work right now on this project in Malden and Everett that have some of the lowest vaccination rates, especially when you look at, say, like the Haitian Creole population or the Latino population in those communities. But we see that a little bit even here in Woburn. So our grant and program does cover, we are doing work in Woburn, specifically trying to reach out to our immigrant communities. Because if you look at, the last time I look, I believe the Black population was, I want to say at least a dozen percentage points below the white population in terms of vaccination rates. So we are working here in Woburn as well as other communities to educate people about the benefits of getting vaccinated and really have the programs are really, we're not trying to preach, but really trying to give people a comfortable place to, when we run programs, to ask questions. We typically have a health provider on the programs learning about, so people can ask questions, and people do, a lot of those populations I mentioned do have legitimate reasons to, ask questions and be a little, make sure, it's not another, situation like sometimes in the past where they were picked out to be experimented on. So we try to allay those concerns by getting health providers on, educating people about it. And so we have volunteer leader positions where people can help out kind of as sort of a peer educator, if you will. And there's a little stipend, $500 if people do a good job and carry out a plan so we have people who are doing things like making presentations to their kids' school, parents in their kids' schools, or tabling at a community event to pass out information. And then we have a teen component as well. So that's kind of fun. We actually have 2 teen interns from here in Woburn who are working with us to shape outreach strategies to educate both their peers as well as, of course, parents, because teens need permission of their parents to get vaccinated. So we are actually right now, the thing that's kind of cool, and I know you have a marketing background, Samantha, so you might have some ideas for these teens, but we are looking for groups of teens that could be part of an existing club or class, or just a couple group of friends that want to come up with essentially a marketing campaign to educate teens and their parents about why get vaccinated, why it's still important. I know people are kind of like COVID, enough already, but the reality is it's going to be around, unfortunately, probably, and we need to learn how to live with it, carry on our lives, of course, but part of that is, getting as many people vaccinated as possible. So we are looking for teens that, be a great thing to write about on a college essay, coming up with a project to educate people about this important topic. So, and we have actually, basically the way it works is if teens apply, we'll match them with a coach to help them develop their pitch essentially, or their campaign. And then if they can get up to $1,000 to implement their campaign. So should be fun. We look forward to hearing from teens, but we definitely have heard some interest, but we are waiting to hear from our first official team to sign on. We just put the application out last week. So, and we're also looking for coaches. People want to work with, adults who want to coach up a team of teens, where we have a need for that as well.
Well, I love it. What a great way to give back to community and do something important with friends. So David, thank you so much for sharing all the amazing things. I know there's probably 100 more things on top of this, but these are some of the newest and most top of mind programs. Really appreciate all the work you do along with the entire team at SCI and communicating. And as always, Woburn, please continue to take good care of each other.